We're here in sunny Marseille, France with the Nerial crew to check out their latest new reality.
Hey gamers, thanks for coming to check out my crib. Let me give you a tour of the Crush House. Come on in. Welcome to the Crush House. It is a game about being a camera woman on 1999's hottest reality TV show, which is called The Crush House.
You see the word crush and you think, does that mean like a romantic crush, or does it mean being squeezed to death? I guess we'll find out.
Could be both. This all kind of happened, I don't know, kind of by accident, I guess. Basically, at GDC a few years ago, my friend Maxi Bach from Baby Steps, another Devolver game, snuck me into the Devolver party, and in the bathroom line I met Arnaud de Bach. And he had been to my talk, and I was like, oh, you know, I like your games and stuff, and we had this like, oh, we should collaborate sometime conversation. For the first time in history, it actually happened.
Wow.
Both of us were really obsessed with this Japanese reality TV show called Terrace House. One day it was just like, what if we made a Terrace House video game? What would that be like? Reality TV is, I think, a very interesting subject to make art about because it's something that is familiar to a lot of people, but at the same time, there isn't a lot of media about it. The thing that is compelling about reality TV, the fact that you know that it's real, but you also know that it's fake.
It feels like everybody's complicit in the fabrication.
Yes, exactly. And so I think it's interesting to make a video game about this because our game is about being a person who's behind the scenes on a reality TV show. So you're part of the process of manufacturing this like fake reality. But we always knew that we wanted it to have a twist. It's in Malibu, it's a very like bubblegum plastic, kind of Barbie-esque kind of vibe to it. And we always really liked the juxtaposition of that with something darker and more mysterious and like something going on that is like unexpected. Hey, it's nighttime. The cameras are off, but I need to tell you something. To be honest, my goal for the Crush House is that this becomes the project that people recognize me for and not Soylent Dick. Don't look it up. I'm Nicole. I'm not here to make friends. I'm here to make video games. Basically, in the game, you play as Jay, who is the camera woman on the show for the Crush House. But, well, she's the camera woman, but she also basically does everything and kind of like make the whole show. First of all, you get to choose the cast. There's 12 potential cast members, and you can choose any 4 of them to be in the house at a time. You have to film them doing stuff, and it's sort of like a live stream type of thing.
I'm Hippolyte, and my tools are to die for. We wanted to direct the player into filming some specific stuff, like for example filming a fish or filming some people fighting. And to do that, we had to create audiences. Like for example, we have the butt guys who do like butts. Butts, you got it.
You can listen to stuff in English, listen to it in English. That's a really nice thing.
So that when the player is playing, he's trying to film some very specific things that the specific audience like.
The balancing idea, balancing all the needs of these different groups reminds me a lot of Reigns.
Our game is in a bit of a looping structure because if you fail to keep your audiences high enough throughout the day, your show gets canceled and you kind of have to start over until you do a good enough job. And that creates a little bit of this like roguelite structure, which is sort of similar to Reigns, as well as balancing the needs of all those different people.
A lot of it comes from the company's vision of games, which is to try and create a tight core loop that works almost by itself, and then you figure out how best to grow that loop. And then once you figured out how to grow, you then condense it back down, so you only have the stuff you really need.
Nicole thinks it's her house, but it's mine.
Without trains, these people would be nothing.
There's like a day and night cycle. So during the day you're making the show, you're sort of like under the pressure of like filming for this audience that's just like, you know, wants to see stuff all the time. And at nighttime, you also get to purchase props. So the nighttime is like also about kind of like arranging things for the next day, but also potentially discovering the darker secrets.
That's the real goal of the game, is just to film people kissing.
like regular reality
Yeah.
TV, in fact.
It's all fake. Devolver, not real. My friend Pedro, actually a tomato. Hotline Miami doesn't exist. Gris, it was a movie at the beginning.
First-person shooter, that was mine. They stole it.
Games-wise, are there any influences that have come into play on the Crush House?
The Sims is maybe the most obvious comparison, but you're not God. You can't like control the people in the same way. Reigns, like weirdly, even though obviously it feels very different, has a sort of influence in the sort of decision making that you have to do. Pokemon Snap actually was another one where we learned, you know, how do you handle sort of like the mechanics of a camera, right? Like we pick up a camera, you're filming something, how do we know what's being filmed? How do we count it? Like, that was a thing that was useful. For me, an inspiration is always like the Yakuza games, just in terms of the tone. Just like how absurd and silly some of the stuff is. I feel like strikes that like perfect tone for me.
I'm Delphine, and this is my house.
I'm Helen, and I'm cringe, but I'm free.
The fact that we have like this mix between 2D and 3D, it was clearly inspired by Zelda Wind Waker. We didn't have like the same proportion and the same style. And there is a game also that I looked into, it's Umurangi Generation.
I have a t-shirt of that with me. I love Umurangi Generation.
You talk about semi-procedural for the Crush House. What does that mean?
We have 12 cast members. You could pick any 4 to be in the house, and then they should have, you know, dialogue that makes sense for who they are. They should have relationships depending on their attraction to each other. This decision was probably one of the biggest, had the biggest like technical implication for the game. Because if you think about it, if you were to just write dialogue for every combination of like 12 people put into groups of 4, it would be impossible to like just write that out,
I'm
right?
feeling millions.
Yeah, it would be a terrible experience for the writers. And
Nobody wants that for Daisy.
Right, exactly.
I don't just write the drama, I am the drama.
How did you prepare yourself mentally for the Crush House?
I had to watch a lot of reality TV.
Have you survived?
I did, and I've got a really disgusting habit now for watching shit on TV. I think ultimately what you're seeing in reality TV are complicated people having very simple disagreements. The structure of the scenes in the game very quickly became structured in the way that you would any scene. So you'd have like a conflict and a resolution.
Have you finished your task yet?
Have you finished your task yet? That's very mature. That's nothing to...
I'm a stupid baby!
Really? Okay.
We built out a system that we call Rigmarole.
Rigmarole?
Yeah, it's called Rigmarole, which basically looks at the conditions of the house. So like who's in the house, what props are here, what's the time of day, like what are these other things, and then picks from these like scenes that we've written and sort of slots the characters in so that they're able to like perform the scenes and say different things depending on who they are.
The Rigmarole system is like a trait-based narrative system, so the characters you got in the game, if you want, they all have different traits, like they're sassy or introvert. When you pick the different characters, you can end up with a totally new narrative every time, basically.
This personality typology system called the Enneagram is like interlocking character types, and I quite early on when I was working on the characters assigned a Enneagram type to the characters, and then if I was feeling like I was stuck writing 2 characters and how they'd interact, I'd like go on Reddit and say, how would an Enneagram type 3 clash with an Enneagram type 8, and use that as inspiration. Even if they present as deeply irritating or performative, that they do have like a real heart and they do have vulnerabilities. You know, even if you don't like them as a character, everyone in the cast is based on someone in the team. Yeah, I've just taken all of the worst elements of everyone in the team and channeled them into the characters.
Delphine, I'm sad.
Me too.
We should dance. I'm still sad.
Me too.
So Joyimi, for example, she has Victoria Beckham vibes from the Spice Girl.
Yeah.
Dia, Grace Jones.
Alex, it's more Kurt Cobain.
It's all very 90s so far. I like it.
I love all the little guys and all the little furniture. It's like our personal dollhouse, I think.
What's going on with the whole 1990s aesthetic at the moment?
Everyone has so much nostalgia for that period because it was like it felt like a more peaceful time, more cheerful time, less cynical.
We're gonna have like pop music, like punk music, you know, I don't know, R&B, just like the stuff from that particular time. 99, honestly, a year of bangers. Like if you look at the Wikipedia for like the Billboard 100 of that year, it's
Really?
like
Everyone
is
crazy.
Yeah, yeah.
Are you ready to go full 90s?
Yeah, definitely. I grew up playing in bands, school bands in high school, so it's kind of really like a homecoming. I feel like going back to those days and, you know, really exploring all of the identities. Britney Spears, Backstreet Boys for like pop and teen pop stuff, and then for more band stuff, Blink 182, Korn, Limp Bizkit, you know, all the new metal, the grunge stuff. A lot of fun. Yeah, and it kind of stretches your sort of producing muscles. There is not only the 90s music, but there is also music that will respond to how the narrative develops, and then you start finding out that maybe something, you know, is off, that is not everything, you know, how it's supposed to be. It's more like a score that accompanies more like spooky moments or...
When things get really weird.
Yes, yeah.
Get in the crush house, bitch.
And Jay, remember the network's #1 rule. No matter what happens, never speak to the cast. Just stick to the show, focus on your job, and don't ask questions you don't want answers to.
Is this cast popular enough to go down the success slide, or will they have their hearts crushed into obscurity? Tune in, turn it up, and join the party in The Crush House.